Okay, Troy, do you have the video going?
What video?
The video for this, videotaping the meeting.
Oh,
Yes, sorry.
okay. We all set? Troy, you all set? Got your mics on? Okay, at 3:47, council, I'm going to go ahead and call the Board of Directors meeting of the Benton County Transportation Authority to order. We'll have the Pledge of Allegiance by Ms. Kovach. I'll give the invocation, and we'll get started if you'll rise.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Father in heaven, we just thank you for all the opportunities you've given us to serve you and your people and this agency, and we thank you for our staff. We thank you for the board members and all that you've done for us for so many years. We pray that you'll guide and direct our thoughts and our actions today, that whatever we do will glorify you and advance this agency's mission. In Jesus' name we ask it. Amen.
Should I do the awards piece? We don't have any visitors.
No visitors?
No visitors.
Okay. Awards.
Well, I'm going to take one of these back from Nicole here for a minute, because what she failed to mention earlier is that she got one of the awards, which is from Mass Transit Magazine for the Mass Transit Top 40 Under 40, the best and the brightest. So, she's recognized by our Awesome. Yes. So, she neglected to mention that in her report. That's pretty awesome. So we've had a couple of folks that have done that, and it's very positive. So good stuff.
Thank you.
And that's all. Is there any other awards or things we need to talk about? If not, we'll move right into the agenda, Mr. Chair.
Okay. It's item number 1, the consent agenda. Item 1A, approval of minutes of the board work session and regular meeting on September 22nd, 2016. Item 1B, acceptance of financial statements, September 2016. Item 1C, acceptance of quarterly investment report, quarter 4, FY 2016. I had a question mark by D. We're still on with it?
Yes.
Okay.
We're
Item 1D.
still. Yes, we're still.
Item 1D, approval of resolution 16-10 for participation in North Central Texas Regional Certification Agency, NCTRCA.
I move approval. I'll second.
Is there a second? Got a second? Any questions, comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposition by like sign. Abstention. Motion carries unanimously. Item 2A, approval of modification to FY15 program of projects. Mr. Klein.
The agency was given an opportunity by the Council of Governments for an additional $104,000, almost $105,000 to add to our program. This would allow us to actually engage that into our program and projects. We recommend approval, and Anna, do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, sir.
And we'd request your approval.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve.
This is item 2A, approval of modification of FY15 program of projects. Is there a second?
Second.
Any abstentions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any, I'm sorry, negatives? Same sign? Unanimous. Item 2B, approval of resolution 16-11, adoption of annual investment policy for 2017. Mr. Klein?
We've discussed this at length. It's been it comes to you with a recommendation from the Finance Committee for approval, and staff recommends approval as well. This is the annual investment policy. Anna, correct me if I'm wrong, we need to do this every year to adopt that. And so, and Anna, do you have anything to add to that?
No, sir, I do not.
And we request your approval.
I compliment staff on getting all of my nits on it, and I checked it again and got them again, so. No, it's a semicolon.
Semicolon.
Yeah.
It was a semicolon.
Okay, is there a motion on 2B?
I make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
So moved.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposition by like sign. Abstention, same sign. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Do you want anything else in executive session?
I don't recommend anything for
Council,
executive
anything
session.
in executive session?
Nothing from me.
Okay, chair reports, why don't you go first, Jim?
Oh, okay. A couple of things that I wanted to, just in terms of where we are. Item A here, we have no budget transfers this month, which is good. I did want to, a couple of things that I wanted to mention from a regional perspective. We did visit with Michael Morris. Charles and I went to visit with him about just updating him on our legislative program and some of the things that we have pending. Very positive response. The results of our strategic plan will be really important to share with him and help guide our process as we go forward. We've had, this month, we've had visitors from, every time I go to D.C. and I talk to the staff in Washington, for the Senator and the Senator Cornyn, Senator Cruz, and Congressman Burgess, I invite their staff to come visit us. And they decided this month was the month. So Senator Cornyn's office brought some staff by, 2 members of their D.C. crew, and then in Dr. Burgess' office, his transportation representative or legislative assistant, Rachel Huggins, came, and they all toured the rail facility. Some of them got on the train. So real positive, tells a great story about DCTA. And so I'm real proud of that. That they were willing to come to us, and we were able to show how proud we are of our facility and what we have going on. So that tells a great story. Skip, I want to thank you for representing us at the Blue Line christening that took place last week with the DART extension that actually connects the 2 UNT campuses, UNT Dallas and UNT Denton.
I will say, did you hear I don't know if you heard the KRLD news article on, was the DART spokesman, and pretty much the most prominent thing in what he said was about the connections with DCTA, and so it was very good.
So it's very, very, very positive, and thank you very much for that, Skip. I think y'all probably saw the news on the DART board approved both D2 and the subway in the Cotton Belt all the way across from Richardson and Plano back to past Addison to at least the Beltline station. So that's a $1 billion project each. And so as I'm reading the news articles, there's a lot of discussion about this and how the Dallas City Council had a wish and how that worked and how those things came together. So I'm sure there will be more to follow. This will be a current event for a number of years, I'm sure. So we'll continue to watch that. I know that we've talked about the retreat. You'll notice in your packet, the Hillwood folks are going to name a street after Bill Walker, which is really nice. I think that's a very nice thing to do. They've sent us invitations. Those invitations are in your packet. It's on the 17th, the same day as our board meeting, from 10 to 12. And so if you'd like to let us know if you can make that, we'll certainly have a staff presence there. And we'll have, if you want to ride over there together or anything like that, we can certainly help facilitate that. So it'll be a great turnout. Bill was a longtime board member here and certainly a big contributor to DCTA's success. And I know his family always appreciates seeing the DCTA side of the house at events that have been held in his honor. And we do have a plaque that we put together from the Gears and Greens that got that all taken care of. And so we'd like to give that to his wife at that event too. So be real positive. So I want to make sure you all know about that. Remember that the next 2 meetings, November and December, are both not on the 4th Thursday because of the holidays. Because I like hanging out with you guys, but I don't want to come together on Thursday, the Thanksgiving Day, to have a meeting. So I think y'all wouldn't want to be there either. So just keep that in mind in terms of the compressed piece of that. So some of our reports, some of the finance reports in particular, because of the way the closures for the end of the month, those things may be delayed a month in terms of presentation. And then one other thing that's out there that I just wanted to share with you, kind of a good news story and something y'all should be real pleased with. There's a lot of talk in the news about retirement programs that are not funded and that agencies that are upside down. You hear about the Dallas Police and Fire program with some issues, agencies in California. It's something that's all over the country. And so one of the things that Anna and I were really careful about this, we want to make sure we bring you a program on the Texas County and District Retirement System and our participation in that. And so I asked Anna to pull that together. I pulled the latest statement for us, and it's great news in terms of the path that we're on. We've increased our funded ratio to 87.5%. which, keep in mind, some of these, I don't know about Dallas, but some of them are in the 30s. And so we're in really solid stead with that. And so just in terms of, if someone asks you, what is the status of our retirement system, we're very, it's very solid, very healthy, and we're very pleased with that. So it's a good thing for the employees, and it's done. We're doing so, and we figured out a way to do that without putting the financial status of the financial health of the agency at risk. So we're real pleased with that. So unless you have questions for me, that's all I've got.
You're not through yet.
Okay, sorry.
I was going to talk about the RTC agenda, and one reason I wanted you to go first is so you could continue and talk about this policy bundle.
Oh, yes.
That the RTC will be passing next time, and I want this board to understand what that's about.
You'll see in the packets, in fact, we'll send out some more information on this. The RTC is considered a policy where there's certain agency policies that need to be in place that are considered good for, particularly for the environment, clean fleets, different policies on construction, things like that. There are 10 that apply to transit authorities. We have to do 5 of them in order to qualify for some of the programs, particularly transportation development credits. It's sensitive to some folks.
In this county.
In this county, in that it's a mandate. It's much how the federal government does projects. They say, you can have our money, but you must follow our rules. Now, as these rules apply to DCTA, getting 5 of these blocks to check is not going to be an issue. We're going to make this requirement without a problem. But just be aware that that's out there. There are those who are rather sensitive about it in our county. So I just want to make sure y'all, Charles, want to make sure y'all knew about that.
Yeah, I don't think it's a majority of the officials on the RTC, but there's 1 or 2 in this county that are a little bit adverse to this whole thing, and it's the government push downstream that's concerning. I don't think it's going to bother us. Jim and I have looked through the whole list of these policies, and certainly it's something that we could easily comply with, as I understand it, Jim, on all of them. So in any case, we'll probably be voting on that next time. I wanted you all to be briefed on it. A couple of other things on the RTC agenda. Every meeting that we have, we talk about high-speed rail. So I don't think anybody thinks it's going to happen next year, but there's a lot of planning and suggestive thoughts about where they go and how they go. I'll tell you where I think it is right now. First of all, I think it's a ways off. The Dallas to Houston leg is the primary thought. They're not going to be able to come into Union Station down in Dallas, so they're going to have to go somewhere else. That's got to be worked out where it lands. A lot of the conversation in RTC is where it goes from Dallas, or how it goes from Dallas to Fort Worth, where it stops. And there's a lot of stuff in the air about that. The brilliant idea of elevating it above the TRE line, 30 or 40 feet, is just being opposed heavily by Irving because they don't want this ugly thing sticking up the air going through there. So there's this kind of stuff going on. I think it's moving forward, but it's still slowly. I don't think it's anything that will impact us because the next leg, which goes from San Antonio, Austin to Oklahoma City, would come through western Denton County, but that is a long, long way off. So I think, first of all, we've got to see if they can make it work between Dallas and Houston first. That's kind of the extreme that's working on now. But it's taken up a lot of clock time at RTC. One other thing I wanted to talk about, it's interesting to me, years ago when I was, and I'm not picking on Frisco, when I was over there making speeches to city council and a couple other places in front of the commissioners' court, transportation and transit was secondary, go away, don't need to talk about that. We are now working with them and just passed a funding partnership for Collin County for a roadway action plan. I mean, and if you've read the papers, you see that now all of a sudden Collin County is very concerned about being locked up with no internal thoroughfares or planning or rail or whatever. I say all that to say I think it's already opened up opportunities for us in Frisco, of course, with the handicap and elderly service. I think there's more to come. We're not pushing that, but we've been asked by McKinney and others to kind of take a look at this whole thing. Just kind of open that door with you all to let you know where we are. Those are the two things out of RTC, I think, that are worth talking about. The legislature, the RTC will not have a strict, proactive legislative plan. It's going to be supporting all these things that you hear about with air and roadway systems, but not any specific proposals. That was the RTC, and it was down to 300 pages this time, which is a blessing, if you can imagine that. We celebrated the 50th anniversary of the North Central Texas Council of Governments, which is kind of interesting. Any other questions? I have nothing else.
No, I had two things, if I could,
Yeah,
just
go ahead.
last minute, there's something I realized. One is we've had, we're going through this whole process for the small city representatives. We currently have 3 seats available. Mr. Capp and Ms. White filled 2 of those seats. There's a 3rd vacant seat right now. The nominations went out. The county judge now has 3 nominees for 3 seats. So there's an election process that has to be gone through, but we'll keep you up to speed on that. But it would logically presume that we're going to be heading down the path we are. We have another person to add, but our incumbents appear to be in pretty good stead. The other thing that I would like, just on a procedural matter, is Mr. Huckabee and Mr. Emery, could y'all please make sure you sign these resolutions before you leave? Thank you.
What resolution?
The 2 resolutions we approved.
Brian, is that what you were asking me about earlier?
I'm getting more serious about that.
I understand. Please see
Okay.
Brother Kevin.
So are you through with item number 6?
I am through, Charles.
Okay. Item number 7, reports on community interest. Items of community, anything? Anybody?
Don't
Nothing?
forget Mr. Walker's street dedication.
Okay, very good.
Charles, do we have an opinion on the dark vote for both Cotton Line and for D2?
No, sir. Now, if you want to meet me out here in the lobby.
Yes.
Maybe we do
I
that.
find it hard to believe you don't have to.
No, we have just kind of stepped back out of that. There's still a lot of variables, as you might expect from those 2 formulas, but no.
Now, those decisions could have impact on what we may choose to do in the future, in terms of where do we extend our line, do we make
We
those
applaud
changes?
their ambition.
Yeah, but we have not been asked, nor have we volunteered any strategy. Is that a good way to put it?
It's a very good way to
Okay. We're down to number 8. Is
So
there a
moved.
Second. 15 seconds. Okay. I'll go ahead and call the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposition by like sign. Abstention, same. Motion carries. Thank you all for being here.
We're going to get cozy.
All right, sir.
Okay. So we're going to Mexico on Sunday, by the way. And we're going down Sunday through Thursday. Alamos, which is south of Chihuahua, Lima, 400 miles.
That's great.
And we're going to do the train in the spring. Yeah, we were